Welcome to the final chapter, the future of computer science. In this chapter, we'll be focusing on what the near future might hold for computer science and how things might change based on it. Please keep in mind, these will be mostly predictions and possibilities, and some of them might never come true. It is impossible to know exactly what is going to happen in the future, but we can try and make our best guesses based on the data and information we have now. So let's dive into it. The first and most obvious prediction is that AI is going to be a big thing in the near future. With the help of AI, computers have the capabilities to think and learn like human beings. So what does this mean? It means the sky is the limit. In fact, it's beyond that. The possibilities are simply endless. So we might start seeing AI robots in agriculture, farming, medical institutions, industry automation, transportation, military wars, economics, bioinformatics, physical sports, education, music production, entertainment, and even politics. Our day-to-day activities will involve interacting with AIs, but all of this will take time to happen. Today is still a very early age for AI. Some AIs are even struggling to properly detect dogs or cars in the real world. But all of them are learning in every passing second. So, what will happen when we finally reach this stage when AIs will be able to walk and talk and interact exactly like human beings? Before we go that far, first let's try and predict how we are going to start using AIs in the near future. Some say AIs will be first used for things like farming and construction to reduce physical labor for humans. Others say a mass production of self-driving cars will come first. A popular theory is that AIs will be used as personal assistants very soon. They will help carry groceries, heavy bags, clean the house, do chores, cook food, repair things, and so on. So like now, we have personal computers or PCs to help us with studies or work. There will be personal robots which will help with our physical activities as well. You would go to a shop and buy these robots based on the things it can do or its features, just like how we are buying laptops and smartphones right now. There is a game I would like to briefly talk about, and it's called Detroit Become Human. It perceives a future exactly like this. The game predicts around the year 2038, people will heavily use robots as personal assistants, and furthermore, they will be used in detective work or life-threatening hostage situations. Which can sound like a good thing, but the game also projects that sometimes these robots can malfunction and can cause more harm than good. And as robots start to replace humans in many aspects, humans will have very little job opportunity and start to riot against these robots at one point. Furthermore, many humans will misuse and torture their personal robots. And since the AI is programmed to feel emotions just like humans, they would want to fight back for their freedom or even take revenge. Now, not all endings of the game are so dark. The game has multiple endings, and based on the decisions you make, you can have an alternate outcome. There is also an ending where humans and AIs live in harmony. So the reason I brought this up is because this is very similar to the real world. We too might end up with a peaceful ending like this in real life if we make the right decisions. Now, currently there are a few personal robots available in the market, but none of them are close to being an exact replica of a human being in terms of looks or functionalities. These robots can mainly help you clean the house, navigate while avoiding objects, make video calls, play music, and if you have a smart home, then they can control the lights and temperature. Some popular ones are Temi, Misty 2, and Walker by UBTech. Another thing we might see in the near future is a mass production of self-driving cars. There are some self-driving cars available today, but they are still not up to the mark. These self-driving cars work fine in empty roads with different turns and traffic lights, but they start to struggle in a real-world scenario where a human driver suddenly decides to stop his or her car in the middle of the road, or a person suddenly runs to cross the road. There are three primary autonomous vehicle sensors, which are the camera, radar, and the LiDAR. Working together, they provide the car visuals and its surroundings and help it detect the speed and the distance of nearby objects, as well as their three-dimensional shape. These vehicles rely on the cameras placed on every side, front, rear, left, and right, to stitch together a 360-degree view of their environment and also detect objects. Radar sensors can supplement camera vision in times of low visibility, like night driving, and improve detection for self-driving cars. LiDAR makes it possible for self-driving cars to have a 3D view of their environment. It provides shape and depth to surrounding cars, and like radar, it works just as well in low light conditions. So a self-driving car has to detect the road, traffic lights, the cars around it, the objects besides the road, every passing human, and all these things have to be done in every passing second. And as human behavior is a bit unpredictable, in some cases these cars find it difficult to make a split-second decision. While self-driving cars were introduced to reduce accidents and traffic on the streets and highways, there had been some reports that with the existing self-driving cars, more accidents are happening, and in some cases, people are getting injured or even killed. That's why we are still not ready for a mass production of self-driving cars just yet. However, these AIs are learning, and we might start seeing them more often in the upcoming years. Since the future is mysterious and there is room for predictions and interpretations, some sci-fi TV series and movies are taking advantage of the situation and try to predict how the future of AI might look like. Westworld is a sci-fi TV series that gained popularity in the recent years, and it predicts that at one point humans will get bored of this world and all the rules that they have to follow. They will desire to live in a world where they can do whatever they want. No rules, no laws, no judgment. And that's where AI comes in. The show sets the stage on a future where people would take vacations, where they will be completely surrounded by AIs who act and behave just like humans. As a result, the human visitors can do almost anything, such as shoot, hurt, kill, murder, or fulfill any dark desires that they wish to without being questioned. And the AIs will take the hit and simply be repaired and ready for the next visitor. It's an interesting concept, and it kind of makes sense. If you think about it, most human inventions were centered around the idea of how to make life easier and more luxurious, or try achieving something that we cannot do in the real world. However, if something like this does happen, the show also predicts the dark sides of the matter. Some people will be so addicted to these new AI-based worlds that they might not want to come back to the real world. And the humans might not be questioned for their dark deeds, but the AIs will have memories of every bad thing that happened to it stored in its memory chip. And as it thinks and acts like humans, won't it want to escape from this horrible world where it has been enslaved? All right, let's address the elephant in the room. Somehow, everything is pointing to the fact that AIs will overpower humans and one day take control. There's a term called AGI, Artificial General Intelligence. This refers to the idea of a machine having capabilities of doing or learning any intellectual task that a human being can do. This includes entering a room and finding a coffee machine, using it to make a cup of coffee, or going to university and studying for a degree, or even going to an office to do a job. So it will be able to exactly replicate a human being without anyone noticing it that it's actually a machine. And if we go even further, we come to ASI, which is artificial superintelligence. That means it goes beyond human intelligence. So if it can do everything that a human can do, will it be able to write code and create more AIs by itself? Yes, and that is what everyone is afraid of. Some people think that similar to the ground-shaking inventions in the past, such as fire or electricity, which completely revolutionized human civilization, AI is also a groundbreaking invention like that. In fact, AI will be the final invention of human beings before we lose everything. Are those people correct? Well, it's hard to completely reject the idea because even in today's world, AI is able to write its own code to create a website based on communicating with the user. In this short video, we see that a user is just typing in plain English, even with spelling mistakes, and wants to express how their website should look like. The AI is able to detect, read, and understand, and then write its own code to build that website. And on this video, the person simply draws on a whiteboard, and the AI is able to understand and write the code required to create it on the go. So if AIs can code by themselves, does that mean all hope is lost? Technically, no. Yes, AIs will be able to create software, websites, and other AIs, but that doesn't mean that human extermination will be the first thing on their minds. And remember, we still have a long way to go before AGI actually takes part in our lives. Today's AI still struggles with self-driving cars in the real world. So maybe it's still too soon to start worrying about AIs taking over the world. On the other hand, if we look back 20 years from now, the internet was barely a thing, not many of us had computers in our homes, and having a mobile phone was even rare. So it's very exciting what awaits in the upcoming 20 years. On that note, I'll end the lecture here. The remaining parts of the chapter will be continued by other teachers. So that's it from me. It has been a pleasure being your instructor in this course, and I hope I was able to create some sort of interest within you regarding computer science. Thank you for your attention, and take care.